Hi everyone, let's talk about Corala. And this is a really nice, kind of abstract, tile laying, puzzly, competitive puzzle basically. And I like them. I've got Uluru, which I think is just behind my head. That's a game where, there's these, you need to sit animals next to each other and the cards tell you where they can and can't go. And that's a race against time to see who can work out the answer before the time runs out. And this is kind of in a similar vein. There's another game from Cosmos that there's probably a lot of them that I don't know about. Anyway, really enjoyed this. It's another one of those games that at the start it seems like what's going to happen in this? We're just laying this out. This is all very simple. But then as soon as your elephants start to branch out from that tile, as you'd expect, as soon as you've gotten a few away and you've got a few different colours out, you still only got two elephants and quite a limited range of where you can place anything. So a good number of your turns are spent kind of, cursing the fates of what came out of that bag because, it's exactly what you didn't need, or cursing the people that you're playing with as well, because that's a big part of this. It's a competitive puzzle where we're trying to find the best outcome, but also the tiles are coming out of a bag, and the first player kind of has to take into account not only what is good for him, but what is good for everyone else as well, because in turn order they're going to be drafted, and you don't want to, you might quite want a tile, but then see that something is absolutely perfect for someone else, and if they're going after you, then you might have to take that. In a two-player game, it's still it's still that big competition between, you're torn between, I really want this piece, but this would be perfect for them. So maybe, giving them a suboptimal piece and me taking one, maybe that will balance out. But will that hurt me too much? It probably, in the playthrough itself, if you saw that, it probably hurt me too much trying to deny all the time, because I ended up with much fewer elephants than Marty did. And that's a great thing that you have to take into account. I expect that it's not bad or okay or anything with two. It works great with two. But I imagine that in a game with more players, this goes up to 5 players, you draw the number of tiles from the bag for the number of players. So drawing 4-5 tiles per round out of that bag will give the person in front a lot more options to be able to do things, and that will change the game up, and it might appeal more to people. Like the two-player game can be really restrictive. Obviously luck comes into it. You might just get the perfect thing that comes out for where your elephants happen to be. The bonus tiles that come out where, if this is the colour for the zone that it counts as, this is the colour it needs to be next to score 5 points, which is quite big. The end scores were 72, 56. 5 points is quite a lot. It happened quite a few times where these come out and it just happens, your elephant's right there, the red is right next to the black, so this was the perfect thing for you. That is an element of it, but the two-player game is quite restricted because you've only got 2 options, and there are a decent number of times where it happens that neither of the options are good for any of us, and you just have to try and make the best of it. Desperately thinking, well, if I make this extra zone, hopefully I can, there's enough turns left and enough tiles that I can eventually link this up, because you only want one of every zone apart from the player colour that you are. Overwriting tiles can be really nice because it can give you opportunities to link up those colours, but if they end up separate at the end of the game, you can end up with a huge stack of tiles that ended up so close to it ended up the colour you want, and it was one away from getting linked up. But sadly, if this is the area you're giving up, and it probably will be because it would only be 1 tile's worth of points, then you will lose points for every tile in that stack. So it's risky going for these outside things, but you are forced to. That's a great thing about the game. The placement of the tiles around where the elephants are, like in Glenmore, where you can only place your tiles based on where those workers are. It's a really difficult puzzle at times because that is so restrictive. And even when you get the the relief of some of the action tiles, where okay, now you can move an elephant wherever you want, or now you can move a tile wherever you want, there are restrictions on where you can take those tiles from. They can't be surrounded on all sides, they can't have an elephant on them. So the tile you just placed that really ruined it for you, if this comes straight out afterwards, that might not help you because your elephant might still be on there. So let's stop going on about it. So Corala, very easy to learn and pick up. I imagine that it will be quite easy to teach to all ages. It's a very quick game as well. It was, even our first game was done in under half an hour, 2 players anyway. It will probably add more, putting more players into it. But yeah, really lovely looking, really lovely design on the box. The insert's really nice for it as well. All of the tiles, the gilded elephants, which you can't see at the moment because they're holding this box up. Yeah, they're all lovely. Nice shiny box. The downsides, it's an abstract game. It's got a bit of a theme to it that you're making this festival for elephants, but it is quite an abstract tile laying game. So if that is a problem for you, then the theme is quite light on it. But I really enjoy the puzzle experience. That's another thing as well. You have to be interested in just a puzzly abstract game. So if that doesn't appeal to you, then Corala won't. But I really enjoyed it, and I hope you got a good idea of what it's like. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye. I feel like I should say things over these end screens. Is that a good idea? I'm not sure. That's maybe one downside of Corala that I didn't mention. The box lid doesn't stand up on its own, so if that's a big issue for you, then it's not a game for you at all. You might, if you're going to film a video of it where you're standing the box up on its own, you might need to put the elephants in front of it, or that happens.